and going back to that uh, House of Representatives with Don Young, I looked at the thing, and there's other people, there's a few other people running. There's a guy who's an African American guy who's got like a talk show or something. Glanced at his thing. He's a veteran like Don Young, and there's a guy who's got a background in fishing or something. I don't know what his name was. I can't remember these people's names, and I worry that they're all older people, and I think that they're fairly respectful people. And then there's Begich, who apparently I don't know the name of the computer firm, but it's some sort of a software firm or something in Chugach he runs, but he's the relative, and I guess he had a past campaign role with Don Young. You know what I mean? Working with Don Young. Now he's going to run against Don Young, and it seems to be almost an expectation that he might be like the one who takes Don Young's role. But a couple things. First of all, I don't see anything really noteworthy with those guys. I think that they're all probably nice guys, respectful people, and I think that they are doing great just where they are. But I think right now in Washington, D.C., you need to send someone down there who's not just some nice, respectful person. It's almost like we're going to a war, in 2022, in terms of the House of Representatives. You need to send a fighter. You need to send someone who's going to go down there and fight. You know what I mean? And I think some of these guys, even if you are a veteran and you're a past veteran, these guys are going to they're not going to fight for the freedoms and for the rights and for the values that need to be fought for in this day and age. And I really want to drive it home, though. I think, my little video I did the other day, it's not just about being like conservative versus liberal. I think what I'm talking about in terms of those fundamental American values and freedoms, that we, fighting this big tech censorship, right? Taking back, we don't want to lose our freedoms with like, this tax on how far we drive, that potentially could be instituted, the Peter Petit thing. We don't want to lose, those essential rights, and just keep going towards, inflation, higher gas prices, higher prices for anything, any sort of food item we buy, and it's really a dangerous place. This is the most inflation we've had. I think it was Senator John Thune out of South Dakota, who's like since the movie E.T., which is like 20, 30 years ago. I don't know how long it was ago, but this is really a sort of a dangerous place if you look at the economy in our country, and it affects the lower income people, the working class more. All of a sudden, a McDonald's meal, Subway sandwich, we're talking 15, 16 bucks, and and the prices of gas obviously is one of the things that is, the most obvious, I think, in terms of inflation. But you really need to send someone down there who's going to fight, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I think that those guys all, when I glanced at that list and I didn't thoroughly look at it, a lot of their links didn't click right. You need to send someone who's going to fight in 2022 for Alaska and for, I think America, and for those freedoms and for those fundamental values that, going back to the 300 years, but that is something that, it doesn't matter if you're a liberal or conservative. For our future, we need those values. The liberals need to not get censored too. You know what I mean? I don't think that we need to sit here and watch like big tech censor, conservative politician. At some point, it's going to be reverse engineered, and your liberal talking person in the media, or your liberal, young politician or business person is going to get censored unconstitutionally, and or your liberal your liberal medical expert, like what's going on with COVID right now. We need a diversity of viewpoints and perspectives, and through open unregulated conversations and dialogue, we are able to arrive at truth. We're able to hear the different viewpoints. We're able to allow people to debate in a healthy, constructive, and respectful way. I think, and that's been a hallmark for 300 years in our country, is freedom of speech. So this is the stuff we need to fight for. And, I look at the guys running, I think Begich, and I didn't see a picture of him. I can't in my mind's eye think of him, who he is. And again, I think that these guys are all probably decent people, respectful people, just based on that the fact that they're from Alaska, or I guess the one guy's from Illinois, but he's a veteran, and the woman, I don't know who she is, who's running there. But I think, and I think Don is too. Everyone's a respectful, good citizen and good American. But at this point, I think you need someone. It's like we're going to a war. You need someone a little bit younger. You need someone with some dirt under their freaking fingernails, and who's going to roll their sleeves up. And I'm not saying throw a punch, but who's not going to fucking fall down. You know what I mean? When we've got our freedoms at stake, when we've got our fundamental American values at stake. So, and I don't even know, maybe the time has passed to sign up to run for the House of Representatives in 2022. Like I said, I am not. It's not that I'm clueless, but I'm not like someone who's like sitting here trying to do this. But I might, and it's like maybe I should just do it, just to do it, to just to challenge Don Young and challenge these other people, and through that, the challenge of the mediocrity, because I think there is a mediocrity there, and I think Don has been so entrenched. It's the swamp. It's the conversation of term limits. You know what I mean? Which is a bigger issue than Alaska's issue. It's an American political issue. And so, maybe we just need a challenge just for the sake of challenging, and for that healthy debate, for that constructive criticism to raise those issues. But really, I think we need a fighter in Washington, and we need someone who's going to, it's like I look at Don Young, probably 99.9% of the shit he does is okay. You know what I mean? And is fine. But for the last, 30, 40 years, there's been, and maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's not like it is right now. We're at sort of a tipping point, like I said in my last thing, sort of a breaking point, I think, in terms of the urgency to protect and to uphold and to champion those American values and freedoms. With everything that's going on with the regulation, with the regulation that's killing small business, but we're letting like big tech and the big corporations have a free reign. And those type of imbalances need to be corrected. I believe we need that freedom of those healthy market forces on the local level, on the small business level. We don't need to restrict that stuff. If any regulation that needs to happen, it's those huge corporations. It's like the big tech and that kind of thing. In terms of the censorship they're doing, and in terms of the effects. I'm talking about like the social media companies and those conglomerates and that kind of thing on our daily lives, and how it shapes us in terms of programming us and everything else. It's like YouTube just censored someone who's talking about, and I didn't even watch their video, of course, but I just saw that they were censored on Joe Rogan's podcast. The guy does MMA podcasts and that kind of thing, and who's talking about like COVID or something like that. And it's like, the basic thing to me is like, it's just a big red flag. Don't censor. If the guy's saying something that doesn't have merit, right? We can let him say it, and then we can have someone else come forward and challenge his opinion and present their own facts and their own data and their own case for what they believe. And through that constructive, open, and healthy debate, we're going to be able to arrive at some conclusions, and we're going to be able to actually analyze the data that the two sides presents on any issue, or even more than two sides. And we just can't be censoring people, in this day and age, I really think, because, the WHO director, or like, it's like, I think the people who are directing the World Health Organization, they need to be able to talk too, and so I'm not like saying, oh, we need to just follow this one guy, who's on the other side of a debate panel and saying everyone needs to, we don't need to do masks, we don't need to do vaccinations. I'm saying, I think both sides need to be able to make a case for their opinion, and we need a healthy, open debate on any issue and every issue, and we can't be censoring, because we're talking about medical people who are, qualified, and we're talking about just freedom of speech, and we're talking about, again, fundamental American values, this stuff that has made us a global world leader, and that we've gone to other countries, for the last, I don't know how long, and we've fought to help other people also regain those type of freedoms. So, we don't need to be letting those go and letting big tech, letting a YouTube, or letting a Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, knocking people off the platform based on their politics or their opinion or that kind of thing. And I think we do want to focus, everyone wants to be respectful and blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm trying to say? So I really think, we need to watch. If anything, we need to regulate those guys. We don't need to be regulating, the little business on the corner who's trying to sell soda pop and sandwiches and saying we're going to shut down all the small business, or the gym. Like, we're shutting down the gyms and places where people have always been healthy, and we're shutting down that part of the health and fitness industry. But we're in the name of health. This stuff doesn't make any sense. So, again, I think we need a fighter in Washington. Or those guys, those are all nice, respectful guys. I don't know any of those guys have the dirt under their fingernails. They're not that rough around the edges. Might be something that we need in 2022. We might not need someone who's just someone who's just going to fit in the box so perfectly, I think, because they might not be the one who's going to really fight for the values. And I think it's like Don too. Don's been doing it so long, like I was kind of saying, he's a California Democrat. He's a Virginia Democrat. I'm going to throw those punches verbally in a debate. This guy's from California. He's raised and educated outside. He don't got dirt on his fingernails, blue collar, working anywhere. Okay, definitely not in Alaska, and he's been out of state for 50 years. You know, what I mean, you need someone young to send to Washington D.C. because this is like a war, right? You know, and maybe someone who's going to wear sunglasses in Congress or whatever it is, you know, because it's someone who's going to look sharp and deliver the sound bites right, but vote the right way too. You know what I'm saying? Someone who's going to energize the young people on the political future, and someone who's going to, you know, deliver on the promise of our country back when it was founded 300 years ago. And you know, and if I did do it, or even if I just threw my hat in the ring at some point, maybe not this time around, but you know, I hope I would at least, you know, enliven the debates and that kind of thing with my constructive criticisms of these entrenched swamp, you know, figures like Don Young that, you know, who's all I know about Don Young was Fort Yukon. And I think that shows to the Alaska political thing, you know, Fort Yukon and something about him doing funny handshakes. And then I do a little more research. The guy's from California and isn't like, he's been at it, you know, he's been gone 50 years and hasn't challenged, got $500,000. I tell you right now, right now, Don, your $500,000 ain't gonna do shit against me. I mean, just listen to me talk right here. You know what I mean? I represent that flag when it's up on the pole. I represent that dirt underneath your fingernails and that mud and that shit on your boots. You know what I'm saying? I represent not just working Alaska or working America or blue collar America. I represent, you know, that place between the economic classes. I think, you know, the rich, the poor, but I also represent that place between the ages, the young and the old. You know, I'm a guy in my 30s. You know what I mean? I've been around. I've been to the place where you struggle. I've been to the place where you have shit in your pocket too, and I know the difference. And I know we need something for our country and for our future that is about freedoms and about someone who's going to fight for freedoms. And I think that's what this is all about for me. It's not because, you know, I'm someone who wants to be a politician. It's someone because, you know, I want to fucking protect and I want to uphold the values of America for myself and for everyone else in this country. But also I want to protect and uphold those same values for everyone in this world and for the entire global future. So, you know, that's pretty much it.